We're here in Rolly, Santa Cruz, and set out the flop stopper. And the way we used it when we were rolling around in Aquatic Park was right through the hose pipe off this midship cleat. But we went ahead and moved the boom out with a preventer. So we got the boom prevented and then the main sheet sheeted out. And we're still rolling a little bit. I was just going to ease it down with give us a little more depth on the actual device. I can't tell how deep we are, but try 8 feet deep, maybe. We're in about 20 feet of water. Yeah, so maybe a little deeper will help us out. Preventer line runs up to this winch and all the way to the foredeck and out to a Dyneema loop that we got at the tied fastened to the boom with a soft shackle.
Still rolling, but it's not as bad.
Yeah, we're rolling mostly fore and aft now instead of just all over. This place was all over the place when we first got here.
So we are in Santa Cruz this morning, and we are actually in the harbor on a slip, on an end tide. We're gonna go run some errands today. Our friend Scott was so nice. He loaned us a vehicle, one of his vehicles, to use while we're here, and we're gonna go do that today.
We need a dock step.
I do need a stair. I can't. So today we're going to, like I said, we're going to run errands. We've got to go to Ace Hardware to get something. We've got to go to West Marine to get something else. And then
grocery shopping.
Grocery shopping. We're going to go to Costco because the chip supply is at critical mass. So we need to get that taken care of ASAP for Rich.
I got to get my chips.
And then first stop, though.
Coffee.
I've already had 2 cups. I'm good to go, but some people need more.
So we went out to dinner with Scott and one of his friends.
Continue on Palmer Street for half a mile.
Went out to dinner last night. We're talking to Juan and we're like, yeah, Scott loaned us his Jeep. He's like, oh yeah, which one?
Scott has a lot of things.
He has a lot of toys.
Yeah. Very nice. We're very lucky to have a friend like Scott that's willing to loan us stuff.
Yeah, Scott's solid.
Yeah. He's even offered us to do laundry at one of his houses. In Santa Cruz, you need a plumber. Duncan Plumbing.
Duncan Plumbing, for sure.
Yeah, you can fit there.
Your tires might rub.
Rub what?
They stick out of the fenders, out of the wheel wells, like 3 inches on each side. You got plenty of room over here, babe. Yeah, you're good. Keep coming. That's better.
A real cappuccino. Next stop, West Marine.
So we've changed from a do-it-yourself boat refit channel to a vlogging channel. So we have to show you when we go get coffee and go to West Marine.
What did we come here for?
The shore power cord. They got proper offshore gear.
Oh, if you need some, get it.
I could get some extra hooks though. I do always need hooks.
Nice day in Santa Cruz.
It's beautiful.
The weather's gorgeous here.
What'd you get at West Marine?
A machete. What?
That's awesome. Mission accomplished. We did all of our running today and we stocked up.
Expensive little day.
It has. Costco was the last stop.
We thought we would save money by not getting a cart. All we did was just break our arms with all the stuff we had to carry.
Had to get my chips. While we were at the marina, I wanted to shake out the stay, so we'll run the sheet and get it ready for sailing down the coast. All right, so everything stows pretty nice with the sheets and halyard attached. It's ready to go. Just unzip it and crank it. Bagged up is it's a little goofy, But yeah, let's tank everything on, ready to go in the morning. Yeah, not too bad. Here's an interesting little workaround for our Starlink situation. This router is a 110 volt router, and you got to unplug it and plug it back in every time you want to turn it on and off. I saw this thing on YouTube, of course. It was an RV guy, but he basically installed a little 12 volt converter that has an adapter that the Starlink plugs into. It runs off of 110 volts, but the actual converter, the voltage converter in here converts it to 48 volts DC. So on the RV YouTube channel I saw, they used a 12 volt to 48 volt DC converter, and then this it's a power over Ethernet injector, converts it to 48 volts. The power over Ethernet injector goes into this converter, which adapts it to the Starlink dish cable. So you're completely taking the Starlink router out of the loop, and we are using a regular Netgear Wi-Fi router. Obviously, the speed is not as high as it was through the old router, but that could have something to do with maybe magnetic interference from the inverter and the location I've decided to put this thing in. It seems to be working after a lot of fighting to get the router online, and finally got the dish connected, but now it fires right up. Go into the Starlink app and you go into the settings, and you still have all the snow melt, the sleep schedule, slide to stow, slide to reboot. The stowing and the rebooting and everything is available on the settings. If you go to the router, it just looks for a router because it's not finding the Starlink router. So the speed test with Starlink is 40 megabits per second, 46, 48, something like that. So not as fast.
By half.
Yeah, it's about half as fast as the Starlink router. But the thing I wanted to check was how much power it's using. So it's using about 4 amps DC, but it seemed like it was using a considerable amount of electricity. It was something like around 100 or something watts DC, I believe, coming out of the system. When we'd shut it off, we'd see about a 100 watt drop in the power consumption. Say 135 watts. Turn off Starlink. So it's pulling more like 40 watts. And it was pulling like 100 watts of converted from AC to DC. So there is a considerable amount of loss. This inverter is about 93% efficient. So 7% of that AC to DC transfer or conversion is just lost in this inverter running. So if you're running AC appliances or anything like that, if it's a DC appliance, like say you got a 12 volt adapter to charge your iPad or whatever, so you're losing a portion of that in just converting AC to DC. So by doing this, we're saving power. Our internet isn't as screaming fast, but 40 megabits per second is still better than what we were getting at our old marina. At the marina we were at, the Wi-Fi was coming through their satellite at a couple of megabits per second. It was very slow, just enough to keep streaming possible. Sometimes 960 kilobits per second. So pretty sad. They got Starlink about a year ago, and we were sucking off of that with our Wi-Fi antenna, and it was still only, we'd get 7, 8, 10 maybe megabits per second. So we got Starlink, and we were getting 150 sometimes. 100 would be a bad day with the Starlink router. So with the Netgear router, we're getting 40, 50. So 43, not bad. It's doable. I mean, we can upload YouTube videos out in the middle of the ocean, I guess. So obviously we still have the old router. We can plug it back in if we need to and get really screaming fast internet. But for 12 volt usage and minimizing the suck on our battery bank, I'm pretty happy with this. And it's only pulling, what did I say, 30 watts? About 30 watts or 40 watts. So we're going to take off tomorrow, leaving Santa Cruz, heading for San Simeon. We're not going to be using our dish out in the ocean, and we're probably going to stow it and bring it down below to keep it from something happening to it.
All right, safe travels.
Thanks, buddy.
Stay in touch.
We will.
Here.
Woohoo!
Well, good.
Ring the bell.
Oh, yeah.
After 4 days in Santa Cruz, we are all stocked up and ready to hit the water again.
Hey,
So how's the autopilot doing?
you tell me.
Seems to be all right.
It seems like it's working. Neither one of us are driving, so
What's our speed?
going 4. Got 13 knots of wind. Going 4.5.
4.5 with a first reef in and a staysail only.
Pretty big
left.
swell.
Yeah, it's really lumpy out here, but the autopilot's making corrections.
If we were in a beam reach, the swells would be coming directly at us, directly at our side, broadside. So we are kind of headed up a little bit to kind of take them on the front, but it's still pretty.
Yeah.
There's still some big waves out here. We just saw whales.
Yeah, we saw whales.
There's a big bait ball we saw right when we had left the harbor in Santa Cruz.
Birds crashing bait on the surface.
And then we got up to it, really close to it, and there were whales all over the place. And sea lions jumping. I didn't see any dolphins.
No. But yeah, there's marine life happening here in Monterey Bay.
Yeah. We got another boat off our starboard side. Looks like he's flying the same thing we are, reefed with a little tiny
Yeah.
staysail.
Once we get out of the mouth of the bay, we're probably going to hit 18 or so knots of wind, and then we'll start heading down the coast. So we left Santa Cruz about, what, 1 o'clock?
No, noon.
Noon?
Right after noon, because it's only 1:42 right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a little afternoon. Our buddy Scott sent us off, cast off the dock lines for us, and we gave him his Jeep back and said goodbye.
Yeah.
So next stop, San Simeon. We should be there tomorrow morning by about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
We're gonna sail overnight, but if we lose the wind, we might have to turn on the engine. And then we'll see where we go from there.
It's going to be weird.
Totally. It looks like the rudder transducer that we put in is functioning properly. I got the rudder in stops set up on the quadrant, so I think we're okay now. Don't oversteer. All right, it's about 9 o'clock. I've been on watch for about an hour. I drew the lucky straw and got first watch, so we sailed until just about sunset. The wind died off right about Monterey, and we've been motoring for about 3 hours now. Jenny's down below trying to catch some sleep. I'm out here with the cat. Cat's not doing too well, but she'll be all right. She's just trying to brace herself, keep from rolling. Yeah, so we just rounded Point Sur. We're motoring, making about 5.5, 6.5 knots. No wind, big swell. Probably 8 foot at 10 seconds. So we're just rolling, trying to keep the motion down a little bit, but yeah, it's just it's rolly. About 54 miles, 53 miles, something like that to San Simeon. So looks like an all-night motor. Should be there about 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 9 o'clock right now. Get any sleep last night?
No.
Not a wink.
None. Did you?
I slept for a couple hours. I got a couple hours of rolly sleep and woke up in a start. Just jumped out of the sack and put my pants on. Looked around. It was like, what, 2:30 when I woke up?
I guess.
So we've been traveling for 17 and a half hours, and maybe 5.5 of that was sailing.
Yeah.
Sun's starting to come up over San Simeon. We're about maybe 3/4 of a mile from dropping the anchor. It's been a long trip.
Yes.
And the cat
Hates it
ain't digging it.
beyond.
Swell's a lot softer here.
Seems like it.
It's way flatter. Keep an eye on depth.
26.
Okay. Looks good. It's nice and flat in here, but I want to tuck up.
Me too.
More reverse. All right, right there. Neutral.
Neutral.
How many feet of water?
20.
Okay, anchor's going down. There's 100 to the water.
Okay.
You still in neutral?
Yes.
We're starting to swing.
Yes.
It's a little off to starboard, but it's starting to straighten out. Okay, and reverse idle.
Reverse idle.
Okay, running up to about 1,500. I don't think we're moving.
I don't either.
Good. We'll sit for a bit and I'll set the bridle a little bit later.
Okay.
Good job, Ed.
Yeah, you too.
All right, we made it to San Simeon. Just the sun's coming up. Oh, it's gonna be nice to get some sleep. We set the anchor and bridle, we put out the flop stopper, and we climbed into bed at 8 in the morning. My Jenny made breakfast, yeah, she did.
Micro.
San Simeon is about halfway between San Francisco and Los Angeles. The key feature of the area is Hearst Castle, a hilltop mansion built for William Randolph Hearst in the early 20th century that is now a tourist attraction. We stayed about 24 hours in San Simeon. We wanted to stay longer, but the weather for rounding Point Conception looked really good, so we had to get underway. Well, we're coming up on Monterey Bay, and I think we're going to skip over it. Big rollers. It's been rolly the whole way down the coast. San Luis Obispo is our destination. We motor sailed for a little bit. We had the main up and it was really nice. It was really helping smooth it out, and then the wind just stopped and was clocking around all over the place at like 2 knots, and it was just really hard to keep it from backwinding, and the boom was slapping back and forth, so we just took it down. We're just motoring.
First non-beanie day. Had to put my sun hat on.
Yeah, the weather's beautiful.
Of course, I still have a turtleneck and wool socks and my warm leggings on, but it's nice though. First time it's been nice.
Yeah, beautiful out.
Yeah, no coat either. Like, I need to adjust this now. It's all set for my coat. So I put Twitchell on her shelf, and she's been sitting there the whole time. So I'm thinking about making a little lee cloth for that shelf. I don't know how we'd attach it to the top.
It's right to the pin rail there.
You think it should be like something she can see through though, or something?
Maybe.
We'll see how that goes.
After nearly 10 hours of motoring, we arrived in Port San Luis just as the sun was setting. We anchored in the bay overnight and left after only 9 hours. It would have been nice to spend a few days here, but the weather window around Point Conception was closing and we needed to continue heading south.
Next time on SVRO.
Another late night passage. Well, what time did we wake up this morning? About 1:30?
Rich is losing his mind about how clear the water is. Sadly, you can't fish here. So,
Marine protected area.
but he might die. He might go down and look at our anchor because we're not quite sure it's set.
Bright sunny morning in Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
So take two.
Can't roll down my window. Figure it out for me as you're driving.
Been a while since we've been in a car together.
Jesus. You're a nightmare. Oh, wait, your hazards are on, babe.
I don't know what you did.
I don't either. Can you look, please?
I don't see anything.
I don't either.
You gotta be kidding, dude.
Somebody couldn't, as I'm driving, figure out how to turn them off. And I have a stick shift. I
Turn
haven't
right
driven a
onto
stick
Palmer Street.
in a decade.
So I'm supposed to map this?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're not gonna go,
Can you up the lady?
Richard. All right. A little something.
It's gonna have to be a little something. That battery's almost dead.
You're obsessed.